Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Forget what the Bible and biology say. You can be male or female or both if you choose. That's what kids in California are being taught. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law. And for Matt Staver today, and joining me in studio is Deryl Edwards, a Director with the Law School and President of Liberty Counsel Action. Deryl, recently a columnist with Queerty.com, radical homosexual magazine publication online, admitted, let's face it, we want to indoctrinate children, talking about homosexual activists and the homosexual activist lobby, these pressure groups that are designed solely for that purpose, to normalize abnormal behavior, to normalize demonstrably deviant and aberrant sexual behaviors and immoral sexual behaviors, which have been held by every major world religion, thousands of years of history, and uncompromising human biology as destructive from a physical standpoint, an emotional standpoint, and certainly a spiritual standpoint. Well, according to our friends at WorldNet Daily and a number of other publications, pro-family organizations and Christian organizations are shocked and alarmed over the revelation that a new wave of homosexual indoctrination is developing in public schools, especially in California, where parents are not even given the option of opting out. If your kids are in public school, they are forced to sit through this radical, militant, postmodern, sexual relativist brainwashing, and you can't even pull your kids out of this. The left, the homosexual activist lobby, understands that in order to own the future, they have to own the minds of your children, and they have to manipulate and change the natural understanding that children have that, there can't possibly be such a thing as so-called same-sex marriage. Marriage is what marriage is, a mother and a father, a man and a woman coming together. Well, they have to be conditioned to unlearn what they are born understanding, that we are made, as Scripture says, male and female, and that marriage is about leaving your father and your mother to be joined with your wife, and that this is a gift given to us by God, designed by God. So ultimately, Deryl, this is an act of rebellion against God. We see it playing out in our public schools.
And we've seen it coming for a long time. I've got in my office book from the early 90s, Heather Has Two Mommies, and the one about my two dads. And everybody sort of laughed at it, and it was considered to be, well, that's fine. Somebody's published this book, but it'll never be a big threat. And what has happened is it's just kept moving forward, and we have not stood up to stop it. And now we see in California, I watched the video of this guy Joel Baum from Gender Spectrum, who came in and taught these little children in the elementary class, and he was teaching about gay and lesbian lifestyle, and it doesn't matter what you appear to be, whether you're a boy or girl, it's what's in your heart. You may think you're a girl if you're a boy, and vice versa. And you would think he was teaching a math class and teaching it as factual as 2 + 2 = 4.
I've often said, well, hey, why stop there? I mean, as long as we're just redefining reality, why not species identity? If we're going to do gender identity, hey, if somebody wants
you may think you're a German Shepherd,
yeah, or somebody wants to get in touch with their inner horse and run the Kentucky Derby, who are we to say, hey, you can't do that? Don't
put that past them.
That's the logical. I mean, it is literally that illogical to suggest that a person can change his God-given biology, which is, down to the chromosomes. It just says, it brings us up to this, if you bring it up to a 30,000-foot level, it really is the debate over whether there is a God, a creator, whom we are all as individuals accountable to. Do we answer to this God, or are we God? Do we get to define who we are, what we are? Do we get to define reality? There clearly is a God. He is a creator. We are made male or female. But this rebellion against God in the form of the homosexual activist lobby and this transgender lobby says, no, we are God. We get to define what we are, despite all the irrefutable evidence to the contrary. Well, our friends over at Mass Resistance, a great organization in Massachusetts that has been really taking the lead in large part on a lot of these issues and battling the homosexual activist agenda, they point out that they are teaching, quote, young children are being taught that they can choose to be a boy or a girl or both. Boys, for example, should be comfortable wearing girls' clothes and nail polish, etc., and there aren't just two genders. There can be a range. And, of course, the school does not allow parents to opt their kids out. This is what Mass Resistance says. So a range of genders, and certainly the homosexual activist lobby talks about transgender, transsexual. I wrote an article on one point, literally, about a young woman who presented, is some of the language they use, as a male. So she presented as a male, so she was a man trapped in a woman's body, but she was sexually attracted to men, so she was a gay man trapped in a woman's body. I mean, it gets really, really bizarre, and it all kind of comes full circle
like
back
lesbian.
to, well, that's what I would call a woman, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Or when I was a kid, we called them tomboys. They might be a little masculine in presentation, but they like the boys, just like all the other girls. But that's how kooky this has gotten. That's how absurd this has gotten. And frankly, this whole transgender issue, and I think many in the homosexual activist lobby understand that this is a bridge too far. They realize and recognize that this is undermining all of the propaganda that they have pushed for years and years and years, taking the emphasis off of this aberrant behavior and couching it as the new modern civil rights movement, defining their identities based on these aberrant behaviors. They recognize that even most people who like to view themselves as tolerant and accepting of whatever lifestyles people are involved in, that this whole transgender idea is over the top. A man wearing a woman's dress and high heels and so forth is just really bizarre. And even further over the bridge too far is when they start forcing and force-feeding this information on kids and indoctrinating the kids without even an option for parents to.
It's worse than that. It's not whether it's just an option. It's sort of a surprise indoctrination. And in this article, it goes on to talk about a girl, 16-year-old Lauren, in her U.S. history class. She walked in and saw written on the whiteboard the words "Gay Straight Alliance Assembly, Harvey Milk." And and at that point, she's told, well, no, we're not having history. You've got to walk out and march down and go to the assembly, and they're going to have an indoctrination section about Harvey Milk, who was well-known sexual predator.
He's an icon in the homosexual activist.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was made about him with Sean Penn, and he's just been really worshipped as one of their leaders. But he had a sordid background himself.
Well, sordid to say the least. He, as they point out in the WorldNet Daily article, he was notorious for, as a sexual predator, going after teenage boys, many of them homeless, for his own sexual gratification. As we so often see, and at least back at this day, they didn't see it as a problem for the homosexual pederast movement to be tied in with the homosexual activist movement. These things are not mutually exclusive. And you have people like Kevin Jennings and Glisten, a gay, lesbian, straight education network, recommending reading to children as part of their indoctrination strategy. That talks about, some of these books talk about how wonderful it can be for an adult man to have a sexual relationship with a boy, and how wonderful it is for kids as young as first grade to have homosexual orgies in bathrooms and so forth. This is what your kids will be taught, and are being taught in some schools, will be taught in every school across the country if you don't push back. And that's what Liberty Counsel is doing. We are fighting back against this sexual anarchy movement, and that's what it is. We are fighting to defend God's natural design for human sexuality. Please join us in that fight. To learn more about Liberty Counsel, go to lc.org. That's lc.org. Ask for Matt Staver's book, Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk, for a small gift. We'll send that off to you. Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk. Go to lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Join us as we fight to defend natural marriage and natural family.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.